Learn the most advanced recruiting techniques. Land the most desirable talent. Launch your company towards massive success. This is the Higher Power Radio Show with Rick Girard.
Good afternoon. Today we are talking about millennial engagement. Woo-hoo. Way too many business owners complain about millennials, so this is why we're having the show today. Today we're going to shed some light and maybe give you some ideas on how to fix it. I'm Rick Girard, and welcome to the Higher Power Radio Show. Our mission is to discuss and deconstruct insights from top-performing entrepreneurs and industry experts. Every week, we uncover tested, tactical solutions to solve your company's most difficult hiring challenges. Today, our guest is the Millennial Whisperer, Dr. Deena Brown, the Executive Director, Certified Speaker, Coach, and Trainer with the John Maxwell team. She's an international best-selling author and has been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and pretty much every media station around. Deena is also the founder of the Millennial Leadership Institute that provides leadership development and lifestyle coaching to millennials. Deena, welcome to the Higher Power Radio Show today.
Oh, thank you. It's so great to be here.
I know. Great to have you. And on such a day where I'm actually dealing with the flu and you're going to have to carry me. So I would
Gladly.
Really appreciate it. I know, right? That would be awesome. So two things we're going to cover today. So two different types of engagement. I think there's kind of before the hire engagement when you reach out to somebody, and then while you have somebody employed, which is probably the most important piece, right?
Right.
So we're going to talk about how to properly engage at both levels. So let's start with proper engagement in the recruiting process. I have some thoughts on that, but let's share some of your insights on that.
Well, proper engagement in the recruiting space is what you really need to start with is a really clear job description.
Sure.
What will people be doing? What do you truly authentically want them to do? Not what's politically correct. As you know, that doesn't fly right with millennials.
Yeah.
And that's one of the areas that's a pain point for millennials and hiring agents, because millennials are reading through the job description and they're trying to figure out, but what am I supposed to do and how am I going to do it?
Well, the job description, and I've had this conversation with other people, is flawed in most cases. It's a wish list of things that somebody needs in order for them to do a job, but it's not clear what the job is in most cases, correct?
Correct.
And for me, it's self-serving. It's here's what my needs are, and if you can fill my needs, then maybe I'll hire you. Maybe you'll be lucky enough for me to hire you. And I think that's the wrong positioning for a job description.
Absolutely, because it leads to my next point is that starting with the job description, then we actually move to the fact that it's more transactional than relational. And we talked a little bit about that.
Yes.
And that it's very mechanical.
Yep.
Especially with millennials, relationship is key. And that's how you begin to build connection in that space.
Yeah. And it's important that you do this in the very beginning before you even hire somebody.
Absolutely.
Right? You want to engage them. You want to have them buy in.
Right.
And, it's not like my generation or even Paul's generation. Paul's our engineer over there. I think he's 102.
But he's so handsome.
He's got that fine beard. But, we were just happy to have a job and get paid, right? It's a different scenario now. It's not a situation where the money's tertiary, if anything, right?
Absolutely. Money's important, so we won't want to take that off the table.
Yeah.
But really the mindset, and when you were asking in regards to what happens before. So when you're courting me, so to speak, to come there, you're showing me all these great things. And oftentimes, when you're hiring talent, they're putting on a front. And then millennials sniff that out really quick. Yeah. And so then they also then go to, okay, well, you know what? I'm in now. They lured me with a really designer bean bag, and they gave me some extra granola snacks. And so I'm excited. And now I'm going to get to work. This person likes me. Yeah. This person wants to know about me. But it was pretense sometimes.
Yeah. So taking that element away and actually making it about the person you're trying to hire, get to know them as a person, is really a key component here that people are missing.
Right. I call it, there's a dating element and a courtship.
Okay.
And I use this comparison. Some may not like it. However, when you go to speed dating, you're sitting down really quick and you're hitting a couple people. And because millennials are in high demand, they're highly technical, and all the jobs are in IT, digital marketing, and they're very savvy in that space. Yeah. So they're courted a lot. So they're the pretty girl at the dance.
Yeah. Okay.
They're the pretty girl. And so the football player comes and wants to, to hire them, and they're excited. However, when it starts to courting, you got me now. What are you going to do to keep me? Yeah. You told me all these great things. You beefed my head up. Now that I have 3 babies and I'm at home and I'm driving the van,
wow, that just progressed really fast.
Right, because it does. We're at a very fast-paced, fast-moving, and because the jobs are plentiful in their space, but the growth and development is not.
Ooh, okay, which really
transitions to the next point.
Yeah, transition to the next point. But this is also, okay, so this is I want to keep that piece for a little bit later on the second piece of the show. But so let's go back to job description because, one of the things recruiters do is they sell the job.
Right.
Right? And it's not really finding out about the person, what's going on in their world, and how you might be able to solve a particular job, what I call a career wound,
Oh, yeah.
That would help them to progress in their career, right?
Correct.
So I think with companies, especially in the recruiting process, you've got to not sell a job. You've got to actually figure out a way in which your opportunity that you have at your company can help heal somebody's wound.
Right.
Or help them to progress in where they want to go.
Mutually beneficial is what I call it. It has to be mutually beneficial, symbiotic, so to speak.
Symbiotic would be a great word for it. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you touched about the money, right? So let's lay out like the top 3 or what you feel are the top 3 or 4 things that millennials look at when they're considering a job that are important to them.
One of the top is work-life balance, so to speak.
Okay.
And what that means is that will I have time to engage outside of work to live? That's really huge, and you see and read about it. But it's not just the fact that I just want to go play golf and ride my bike, but do I have time to get involved in other social, community type events?
Yeah.
Do I get a chance to spend time with my family? Is there some downtime? I will work really hard, but is there downtime? That's there. That's a huge one there, and that leads to number 2, which is social consciousness.
Yeah.
In the world of Google, so to speak, they look you up. Many millennials actually are interviewing the talent, the recruiter, before they're looking at the company. What have you invested in? Do you really care about people?
Yeah.
Does your audio and video match with that? So that's really huge. And then there's still also the benefits. And that money's included in those benefits. Medical, health, dental. And definitely the money. So I know they say, millennials don't care about money. Well, they do.
Yeah, they do. Everybody does.
It's just not the priority. Like you said, it's more tertiary. That's why I listed it in the 3rd space.
Yeah. Okay. So this idea of here's where I see a lot of companies get a little confused. Work-life balance. I think they think that the person that they see that as red flag sometimes. Mm-hmm. Does that mean the person wants to work from home? What does that mean to a millennial?
What that means to a millennial is that I will show up hard for you when it's critical, when it's critical times. However, when I need that time, that we have the relationship that's in place, that if I say, you know what, my mom's in the hospital, I really need to go and be with my mom, that it's not going to be punitive.
Yeah.
So when we talk about work-life balance, if you want me to work 14 hours a day, then give me a day where then I might get to work 8, to that respect. So when you look at startups, which usually are made up of lots of millennials, they work a lot. So there's a myth that millennials don't like to work. If you look at they have multiple jobs, they have multiple businesses, they're working a lot, but they also have that time off to kind of renew themselves.
And I think they work differently. That's why there's that illusion that they don't work hard.
Right.
Right? And so the other thing that I see a lot of times, or I hear, is that companies complain that they hire somebody and then that person wants to be the CEO the next day, right?
Okay. That might be
just
some
something
truth
I've
to
heard
that.
a few times. Yeah,
there might be some truth to that.
Yeah,
but there's also a lot of mindset misconceptions to that as well.
Sure.
And speaking to several of my millennial clients, and organizations that I've gotten a chance to work with, I ask that question. I said, what is it? What do you want your boss? What's the one thing you want to know? Is that I really care. I want to do better. I want to grow in this company. I don't see opportunities for me to grow personally or even professionally. The biggest questions I get from millennial clients, how do I find a mentor in my company that's going to help me get better at my job? Because they perceive me as wanting to steal their job. I don't. I just want to do the job well.
Yeah.
So is it perception or is it really reality that they want to be CEO the next day because they're asking lots of questions? They're asking lots of questions because there's a lack of clarity there.
Yeah.
There's a lack of consciousness there. They're not really aware where their place is. And then maybe there hasn't been a consistent plan put in place to help them grow to their next grader.
Okay, now we're going to dig on it. I definitely want to. That's going to be the second part of the show. All right, so let's talk about how to engage a person. So before we cut to the break, I want to talk a little bit about how one of the ways in which I reach out to people is more about the person. I don't try and pitch a job. I reach out and I say, hey, look, I heard some good things about you, and I wanted to find out if you'd be open to hearing about something that could potentially be career advancing for you. It seems to be, I get a lot of responses back from just that simple thing because of the fact that a lot of people don't feel like they're in a position where they can advance, which is, and when I talk to people too, I don't talk about the company or the opportunity, I talk about them. Absolutely. It's all about that person.
That's what makes you great.
Thank you. I'm blushing. No, but, it's about the person. And I think in this transactional recruiting environment, it's there's so much push to get people in fast, that they end up making bad hires. And the cost of that is just astronomical because of that. Yeah. And I think the companies create a lot of this problem for themselves by not taking the time up front and investing in that person in the engagement and interview process. Absolutely.
There's a hurry mentality and wanting to get what we call like butts in the seat.
Yeah.
So that I can, get increase our bank balance. So, it's that piece right there is the problem.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose in the end. And research shows that if you have a bad hire, it's on average about 30% of what that annual salary would be per person is what you are losing. So when you do the math, you might want to take 2 more extra weeks or open up and maybe look at some people that don't traditionally meet that. Because sometimes, again, because of that job description, you're alienating some people who might be a perfect fit for your environment.
Yeah,
and your culture.
And that comes down to the screening process, too.
Right.
When you're screening resumes, don't look at a resume. Talk to the person. Call the person up and talk to them.
You don't understand when you say that. And one thing that I'm working on is looking at the human factor in this automated space.
Yeah.
And that's what's missing. That's the missing link.
Yeah. It's matching buzzwords and thinking that you're going to find somebody by looking at that, and I think it's just a silly way to recruit.
Absolutely.
So we are talking to Dr. Deena Brown, the Executive Director and Certified Speaker Coach Trainer with John Maxwell Team. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to cover actually how to retain talent once you have them as an employee.
Absolutely.
Be right back.
You're listening to Higher Power with Rick Girard, giving you access to recruiting techniques that will help you hire key talent to build your company towards real success. Rick is a recruiting executive and entrepreneur who's been successfully recruiting in the aggressive Silicon Valley technology landscape for the past 2 decades. After a very successful stint at Apogee, he founded Stride Search in 2012. Based on a lean efficiency model, Stride has uniquely positioned itself as a leader in retained search for the most critical talent hires within a small organization. Whether you're a startup executive or recruiting professional, by listening to Higher Power with Rick Girard, you will walk away with skills to help you attract and hire great talent. Now back to Higher Power with Rick Girard.
And welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Girard, and today our guest is the Millennial Whisperer, Dr. Deena Brown, Executive Director and Certified Speaker Coach Trainer with the John Maxwell Team. We just discussed kind of some of the faux pas in the recruiting process and how to actually engage millennials properly. Now we're going to talk about once you got them hired, what do you do now? So let's talk a little bit about how to retain that talent once you've got that person as an employee.
Well, I marinated on this because there's so many different ways. But one of the traits that seems to be missing in most leaders and bosses is that they don't know how to be a great motivator. They think motivator is dancing and jumping on tables and chairs, but that's not what I mean.
You mean it's not Tony Robbins?
Well, it could be. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But what it actually means is that really getting to the root of what makes people tick.
Sure.
What do they feel? What do they like? What do they enjoy doing? How do they work?
Yeah.
How do they fit within the group? And it's how to figure out, and then what's going to make them act. That's what being a motivator actually is.
So is it like a time investment on the manager's part that they're not willing to put in? Is that kind of the big issue?
I wouldn't say they're not willing to put in, but sometimes you just feel like I don't have time. But that's what's costing you time is that you don't take that time.
Well, it reminds me of that. I read it every so often. You'll say, some CEO will say, well, you know, what happens if we invest money and time into our employees and they don't stick? And they say, well, what if you do and they don't? You know, if you don't invest the time into them and they stay?
Okay.
So you got a worse problem, right?
You got a worse problem. But what if you did invest in them and they do stay, and then you have this sense of explosive innovation?
Yeah.
And you're building leaders, not just gaining followers. And again, leadership is influence. How are you influencing those people? So part of this piece, what you're asking, as far as what makes them stay and how to retain them, is it a forcible influence? Because you're kind of coercing them either with money or workplace bullying. I wouldn't say, I won't use the SEX word. But inside joke. Inside joke. But how do you influence them? Again, I can't say enough about relationship.
Yeah.
And once you begin to build that relationship, you have an opportunity to influence them, and you get to higher levels of that.
Well, so here, part of that part of that problem is communication, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think for the management generation, a lot of them tend to look at, well, I can't really communicate with them because they always have their nose in their phones and they're texting and doing whatever else. So how do you bridge that gap?
Send them a text and say, I'd like to talk to you. Sometimes it can be easy.
God, that was so simple.
that was
duh.
Here's the thing is that we get so stuck and doing things the way either we've been taught or that we learned that we forget that we're dealing with a whole entirely new generation. And do we want progress and growth or do we want to be right?
Progress and growth.
Okay, so guess what? There's going to have to be some shift. There's going to have to be some changes there. And when you begin to meet people where they're at, that's part of that motivation factor. That's part of that relationship factor. Because once you meet them where they're at and they know that you're willing and you're paying attention, that you care, you then can influence them on the back end and say, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and put this phone down, or we're going to put it on delete. I really want to have a conversation with you. They're so excited that you want to talk with them and you care about what they're thinking, that they won't even think twice about that phone.
So it's our job then to be the communicator.
It's a mutual piece, but you have to teach them how. And that's what's missing. You say, I want you to do this, but guess what? If they never learn the how, then what? And so when you're hiring, that's part of what you mentioned in the first segment.
Weren't they supposed to learn that in school?
They were supposed to learn that in school. And as a former school principal, high school and elementary school principal, I can tell you that we tried to teach it, but it actually starts at home. It starts in the environment. And your new workspace needs to become your home if you're going to attract and retain millennials. They want a relationship with you. They want to feel like I can come to you, that I can fail forward faster and feel safe talking to you. And if you do that and you invest the time, 5-10 minutes a day. We're not saying hours. Start with 10 minutes.
So fail forward faster and feel safe.
Right.
I like that. I mean, you can allow people to fail forward faster, but then what ends up happening is they get reprimanded for it, right?
Right.
So how do you make them feel safe?
By talking with them, spending that time, and creating a culture. And everything I'm mentioning doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. It is not something that is just going to do. So one of the workshops that I did with one of a client, we looked at, there's the I in team, and it's a proverbial I. And so what am I going to do to make sure that this team is successful? Got it. And it goes to a personal space of what do I have to do to measure up? What do I need? what are my strengths and what are my opportunities for growth. And once I can admit and share that to you and not feel like it's going to be punitive, then guess what? We're building a culture and a climate that opens the door for that. And that's going to increase innovation, and it's going to also increase profits in the long run.
Okay. Got it. So then you mentioned growth.
Yes.
All right. So how do you provide growth to somebody?
Ask them what they need.
Communicate. We have to communicate.
You got to communicate. But like I have a C3 framework. It's called clarity, consciousness, and consistency.
Okay.
And anything that you talk about, what's the problem, that's at the basic.
That's what I love about you. You have an analogy.
I have an analogy. I'm an acronym queen.
I know you are.
But in this framework, the C3 framework, it collapses upon itself. So once you have clarity, consciousness, and consistency, then you're able to communicate with influence, connect authentically, and to collaborate strategically. And in order to do that, I have another C. That's why it says a C3 framework. I mean, it's powerful. Is that then you need to have compassion. You need to have courage, and you need to have confidence. And when you put all that together, you have one dynamic, powerful organizational change agent.
Which I would imagine a small company is probably easier to implement than a large company.
No, it just starts. Just got to start.
Just got to start.
Just got to start. And if
just do it.
What culture do you want? Here's the question to ask. What do you want?
Yeah.
What kind of culture? Because your mission, vision, and values are going to set the tone. And that's why you're losing millennials, because if it's not clear and they're not aware of it and you don't operate consistently in that, you're going to lose them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say would be the top 3 reasons why millennials leave at this point?
The top 3 reasons why they leave?
Okay. It could be 4.
Okay.
As many as you like.
As many as I like.
Load it up.
Okay. Here's I'll give you a little pie.
Okay.
It's the holiday time, and it's pie is an acronym. Is that the purpose? They're not really clear on what their purpose is.
Sure.
Where do I fit? How am I going to grow here?
Sure.
And when I speak with millennials, they say, I don't see myself growing here. I'm in a box, and I'm not going to get promoted because they think I'm X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
They think I'm lazy. They think I don't want to work. They don't think I'm going to stay. They think I'm not loyal. But I am. However, they don't treat me like. That's the top things I hear back in my millennial research. And then intention. Not being really intentional. They leave because there's not an intentional relationship built with managers, supervisors. And again, if you want someone to interact a certain way, don't you need to model that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're not modeling, how am I going to work collaboratively with anybody when you don't even work? I don't see it.
Yeah. It's got to come from the top down.
The top down.
Absolutely.
So that I can build from the ground up. And then the third thing, execution, is that teaching them the how. Here's the biggest complaint, if you don't take anything else away, is that they tell me what they want me to do, but I don't know how.
Sure.
And I'm afraid to ask without looking like an idiot or being said, oh, that's just, the millennial piece. But they want to know how.
Yeah.
They want to know how to execute with excellence.
Yeah.
And that's part of the job.
And that's part of the training, too.
Right. It needs to be part of the training.
Got it. So we just learned about pie. and not the mathematical one.
And not the mathematical one, but it does make dollars and cents.
All right, well, okay, since we're doing acronyms, let's just throw in, let's educate our guests on the sex thing, because that was an inside joke earlier. And of course...
He's been dying.
So...
Give him the backstory.
All right, backstory is... Deena did a talk at a Disrupt HR, and the acronym that she used for her talk was SEX. There's not enough sex in the workplace. And you should have seen the HR people fall out of their chairs. It was outstanding.
I'm a disruptor. That's why I'm the Millennial Whisperer.
Okay, so what does it stand for?
Okay, so we talk about the law of solid ground.
Yeah.
And the law of solid ground, taken from John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, is that you build relationship, you build trust.
Sure.
How can I know, like, and trust you in the workspace?
Sure.
And so that's what the S stands for. That's what we need to have. The law of solid ground.
Solid ground.
Solid ground.
Got it.
Right. So then the E is empowerment. How do we empower our employees? By letting them fail forward faster.
Got it.
And that we give them the room to grow. They mess up, teach them how to do it, and then help them get to the next one.
Got it.
And then the X is the law of exponential growth. Is how we are beginning to build leaders instead of amass followers.
Got
and
it.
The way you do that is very different.
And there's a company, Amazon does that very well.
Yes.
They do. they have leadership principles by which they hire people, and they're very good at, they want to hire people that have leadership qualities.
Right. In and out does it better.
In and out does.
In and out, because they also build, when people come, that's why they have such a high loyalty rate. When they hire from within, and they build their leaders from within.
Yeah.
So if you want to be in the management space, then you're going to come through.
Yeah.
And so that whole concept of the mission, vision, and values is embedded.
That's interesting. I did not know about it.
Consciousness.
Yep.
And consistency. I told you.
There you go.
It's the core.
And then we got purpose, intention, and execution. We got pie. And I want some apple pie now. We're at holiday season.
Christmas is Monday.
Oh, man, this has been great. So we're just about out of time for today's show. Dr. Deena Brown, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been awesome having you. And your time investment in being on the show.
Thank you.
And welcome to the Higher Power Radio community.
Woohoo!
Now, I am sure there's tons of our listeners that want to follow you or find out more about your coaching that you do.
Absolutely.
How do they reach you?
They can actually reach me on Instagram at Dr. Deena Speaks, or Twitter at Dr. Deena Speaks.
And that's spelled Deena?
Spelled Deena, Deena.
Okay, Dr. Deena Speaks.
Or actually, if they Google the Millennial Whisperer, I shall pop up. But if you definitely want to find out more about bringing those programs to your space, please visit dbcoachingandconsulting.com. I'd be more than happy to help you out.
And I think that would be an awesome training. So you guys should all sign up today. So I want to thank our listening audience for tuning in to today's show, even though my head is blown up like a balloon. Quick thanks to our team. We have engineer Paul Roberts, our producers Andrea Ballin, Shanti Ryle, and our executive producer Kim Iverson. To listen to this show and past episodes, you can reach us. Check us out at Hire, that's HIRE, powerradio.com. Or Higher Power Radio on iTunes. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at the Higher Power Radio Show. Or you can follow me at Twitter at Rick_Girard. This is our last show for 2017. Again, Deena, it's so great to wrap up with you.
Awesome.
I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show for this year. And with that, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. We'll see you back on January 2nd to kick off the new year.
Thank you for listening to Higher Power with Rick Girard on OC Talk Radio.